Good evening, everyone. I'm Lauren Christie. Connecticut became the 18th state to legalize cannabis in the United States. Let's take a look at how Eastern is getting in on the action.
Research, is what's driving kind of the knowledge base of humanity.
Cannabis cultivation is currently underway at Eastern as Connecticut becomes the 18th state to legalize marijuana for recreational use. Dr. Brian Connolly, a biology professor here at Eastern, looks forward to the opportunities this new program brings to students in the entire Eastern community.
It's really going to be a field that students can get employed in a few years as legalization rolls out in Connecticut.
Students will be able to officially declare hemp cultivation as a minor during the spring 2022 semester. This program focuses primarily on hemp and not marijuana. Though similar, hemp has a 0.3% or lower THC content. Senior Eric Rocha appreciates the chance to get in on the action.
I kind of wanted to get my foot in the cannabis industry, even though I'm not a bio major per se. I thought it'd be really interesting to kind of see how hemp is cultivated, and I think it'd give me a good head start in the industry.
A controversial milestone for Eastern's biology department.
There's a prejudice against cannabis and it not being a real academic field, but it is. Sometimes it's not taken seriously, but it is. You can do definite serious science and serious education around cannabis.
The program's legitimacy and necessity relying on the roots of science.
As a scientist, your sort of bread and butter of your field is research, and research really lets you drill down and answer very specific questions.
Cannabis has been illegal for so long. We don't have much research done on the substance, so it's really important that we get more research so we know more about the product.
Reporting from right here in Willimantic, I'm Megan Selensky of ETV News.
Cannabis classes are currently underway and students are now able to officially declare hemp cultivation as a minor. With spring break just around the corner, the Office of Housing and Residential Life is quickly preparing for student departure. All first-year residence halls and the Adlic Hall will be closing at 6 p.m. on Friday, March 11th. If you live in these dorms and wish to stay, you must complete the spring break housing application found in the My Housing portal. All fob access will be turned off until 10 a.m. on Sunday, March 20th. All upperclassmen students have the opportunity to stay in housing without following these procedures if they choose to do so. Be sure to check your school email regularly for more information. eWeb is scheduled to start showing available courses for the fall 2022 semester starting Thursday, March 3rd. This comes 1 week before the advising period begins for seniors. Remember, students are unable to register without their unique registration code, so be on the lookout for emails from the Advising Center and your faculty advising. Did you know Eastern has a podcast? Reporters Julia Florence and Celeste Petrowski have more from Gelsey Young Hall.
I'm Julia Florence here outside the Gelsey Young Hall, also known as the new recording studio for the university's first official podcast.
What's Up Warriors, ran by co-hosts Amaryllis Rodriguez and Eden Fritz Aguirre, first began this past winter break. According to head of university relations, Edward Osborne, what brought the idea to life was when the school asked Eastern students what new social media resources they wanted to see pursued, and the most popular answer being a podcast. With over 500 responses calling for something new, 2 of our very own students chose to unite. Senior Aguirre, who's a radio production and podcast vet, and first-year innovator and former Yale livestream intern Rodriguez, took a while to meet but soon became close friends, and bonded over what exactly? The opportunities presented with a campus-wide podcast. We asked them the logistics and what exactly goes into this effort.
Of course, a podcast can, be simplified with a smartphone and maybe, a mic from Amazon. No shame in that, but here we definitely shoot for as much quality as we can.
I use a Rodecaster for Eastern, which is a really, really fancy board that I enjoy. Just, plug 2 desktop microphones in, plug it into my computer, record right into Adobe Audition, and that's pretty much it.
This, on top of a conversation flowchart and the right lineup of guests, makes for great shows. Besides former ECSU social media influencers who've already been on, Aguirre summarizes who we should expect to see.
Several students have reached out. They're working with the Intercultural Center to put on some really exciting programs. President Nunez, of course, just have to talk about it again because we're so excited to meet with her. And we're still firming up our list for the rest of the semester, but we got some really cool names.
Afraid you'll miss out, though? That's the whole point of a podcast.
What's Up Warriors is anywhere at any time. You can check all the different platforms. We're there 24/7, whereas a radio show, you gotta catch it right when it airs.
Why listen at all, though? Rodriguez shares her perspective.
I just want everybody to learn something new, whether it be a new studying strategy or a club, an organization that they want to join and be affiliated with. That's my biggest takeaway. But also just sharing stories.
She continues on to say the ways this will take form.
Eden and I are going to be sort of maneuvering between having interviewees and also having conversations between her and I, maybe about just common school life things. But I just want it to be some sort of a time capsule.
While Rodriguez looks to make memories for the future, Aguirre is focused on telling the stories of the present.
Anything that we can do to further promote Eastern as a whole and all of the amazing people we have on our campus, I think is really, really important.
Between student involvement, personal relationships, and entire university engagement, there is no better way to tell the Eastern story, says Osborne. In summary, Rodriguez reflects.
If I were to give any advice, is to, if you want change, I say go for it. Just using the podcast as an example.
Aguirre speaks upon reflection of each week's show.
Ultimately, you're just having a conversation with a friend. You're talking about the college you go to and love. Just have fun.
So if you want to hear more about the girls' own personal stories or follow up on all things Warriors,
you can find What's Up Warriors anywhere. iHeartMedia, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, you name it, we're there. And we're constantly being added to more platforms as we go. You can follow us on Instagram at What's Up Warriors Podcast and on Facebook under What's Up Warriors.
Thanks, Eden. From on campus to on air, we have high hopes for the podcast as it continues throughout the semester. To listen to the latest episode or catch up on the series, search What's Up Warriors on all the social media platforms or the podcast title on the Eastern website.
Due to the improved COVID-19 case numbers, Eastern has lifted the outdoor mask requirement starting Monday, March 7th. This new change means that students and staff no longer have to wear masks on ground in any outdoor locations. President Nunes urges the campus community to continue wearing masks indoors as they are proven to reduce the risk of infection. Winthrop Hall is now holding weekly COVID-19 antigen testing Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 5 to 9 p.m. Testing is available on the first-come, first-served basis to all students. No appointment is needed, but you must present your student ID on arrival. If you are experiencing COVID-19 symptoms, you may be asked to complete a health assessment with health services. On Wednesday, March 2nd, 2 Eastern professors held a flash talk on the Ukraine crisis in the Student Center Theater. This event was intended to inform students, staff, and community members on the recent events occurring in the Ukraine, as well as the history behind Putin, NATO, the Russia-Ukraine relationship. Attendees engaged in the discussion of what comes next during a Q&A session following the presentation. When we come back, reporter Cameron Darcy sits down with the ETV News executive producer to talk about upcoming event on campus. Don't go anywhere.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Hi, everyone. Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that after 75 years, Smokey's only said,
"Only you can prevent wildfires."
But I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spotlight on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Welcome back. In this week's week's edition of One-on-One Reporter, Cameron Darcy got an inside scoop on the different clubs offered in the communications department, as well as a major event coming up in the building. Take a look.
I'm Cameron Darcy, and welcome to One-on-One. Today I'm joined by Megan Slinsky. Megan, thanks for being here.
Of course.
Megan's a junior on campus and is heavily involved with many of the different media outlets on campus. ETV News, Campus Lantern, WECS, all very experience-packed clubs here at Eastern that provide students the chance to learn and create content. Megan, tell me a little bit about these clubs offered here at Eastern and what are some of the real benefits of them?
All right, let me go down the list. So first with ETV, I am the executive producer of our newscast, as you said, and ETV is a great opportunity for students to come in and get hands-on experience in the studio.
How do you feel that this time in these clubs has prepared you for your career and your future?
Oh, tremendously. Like you mentioned, I'm the executive producer, and I never thought I wanted to write, and I can't see myself doing anything else but producing later. I always wanted to work in the control room and do that. And the great thing about these clubs is you also learn what you don't want to do. I got in the control room, and I said, this is really, really cool, but I would rather do this. But if I would have graduated not having this experience now, I would have tried to go into a career in a field in something I don't like. So the great thing is you can come to these clubs, you can come to these different events and realize what you do and don't like to do.
Sounds like a very positive thing to take away from the club. Another aspect of it is the social aspect, which is very important. Tell me a little bit about that and how those connections are important for your future after school as well.
So my freshman year, I walked in not knowing anybody, even though I grew up 5 minutes down the road. And me and Lexi Nimitz were called the squad by all the juniors and seniors, because when we had an opportunity, we just raised our hand and did it. And I got to know Lexi, I got to know everybody so fast because I just came in and just jumped in with 2 feet. So I think not only are we getting that experience, I've met Lexi, I've met you, I've met so many people that it's so much fun to come in here on a Thursday night and produce a newscast. We have so much fun. Even though it's a serious thing to get this experience, we're enjoying ourselves at the same time.
Wow, so these clubs are a really great thing to get involved with at Eastern. You know, right now we're getting towards halfway through the second semester, but it's never too late to really get involved. So who are you looking for to really keep getting involved, and who should come out to participate in these clubs?
You don't even have to be a comm major. I would say if you're even kind of interested, any student should come. Even if you're a second semester senior and you're about to graduate, but you want to check it out, there's no harm in going and trying. There's no harm in just walking into a meeting and just seeing what we're about. Like I said before, you're going to realize what you don't like by trying things. And if you don't do that, you might go into a field that you'll not enjoy.
Right, it could definitely be a daunting thing to get involved with something new like that. What was your experience a little bit like to that first step of getting involved as an underclassman?
I'm lucky where I'm an outgoing person, so I can just come in and start talking like I'm here on the air right now. But I think as long as you can get over that barrier of this is new, this is hard, I'm going to fail, you're going to have great experiences and you're going to have fun with us. At either ETV, WCS, or Campus Lantern, everyone's here to learn. We're in college, we're still trying to get the experience. So I would say early on, with that mindset, I was able to get a bunch of experience, and now I'm the producer.
So you can also even earn credit by participating in some of these clubs. Tell me a little bit about that.
That's actually a great opportunity as well, because not only are we getting that experience we've been honing on, is you have to go to the advisor, and you can get 1 credit each semester that you do any of the clubs. So I'm currently doing the practicum credit for Campus Lantern and ETV. So you're only allowed to do that 3 times, so 3 separate semesters, but it's per club. So if you wanted to, you could do the radio, you could do Campus Lantern and ETV 3 times, which would give you 9 credits towards graduation, which is fantastic.
Definitely a substantial amount, yeah. Word on the street is that the communications and the new media studies departments are putting on an event in the next week or so here in the building. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Next week, Thursday, March 10th, from 7 to 10, here in the communications building, the 5 not only comm clubs, but the film and media clubs are getting together. So ETV, Campus Lantern, WECS, PRSSA, which is actually our public relations club here in the communications building, and film and media from our new media studies major. We are all getting together for this one collaborative event to promote our content and the things we're working on this semester, but also it's just an opportunity for the overlap of our members to bring everyone together. In our meetings, I noticed early on that a lot of the kids that I saw on ETV, I saw at the radio, I saw at Campus Lantern, and I know it's the same way with the fine arts clubs. I just don't have time to go to every single one. So I thought, maybe we should bring everybody together. And so with this event next week, we hope to give away tons of prizes, tons of free food, free apparel, merch. It's going to be a lot of fun, but the idea is to promote the clubs and get everybody together.
Great, yeah. So what's going to be really unique about this event, and what's going to make students want to come check it out?
Well, there's free stuff. All college kids like free stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But as we said before, you get a chance to experience something, even if you're not a comm major or a film major, you get to check out some of these things that you might be interested in. And it might be a fun hobby for you. We have a lot of non-comm majors in a lot of these clubs, and this event not only brings those people with similar interests together, but people that differing also get to come together. And it's just a great big event. It's our second time running it. I hope we keep it going and it becomes an annual thing even after I graduate.
Yeah, sounds like a great thing you put together. Megan, thank you so much for your time.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yeah, before we go, is there anything else you'd like our viewers to know about Media Day or our communications programs here at Eastern in general?
That's a tough one. I would say even if it's not our clubs or the communications department, get your experience now. Just try new things. Why not? You have the time. You're spending money to be here. You're taking the time to be here. Why not get experience and try new things? Because once you get out and have a job, it gets harder to have a life. Is that too rude to say? But it's harder to do things when you have responsibilities. Right now we're college students. We should try new things. And I think Media Day is a great way for people to maybe try media.
Yeah, thanks all. This has been ETV News' One-on-One. I'm Cameron Darcy. Lauren, back to you.
Thanks, Cam. Sounds like a fun event. If you're interested, make sure to swing by the Communications Building Thursday, March 10th at 7 p.m. After we break, we have more info on the Russia-Ukraine conflict and how Connecticut is reacting to the situation. Don't go anywhere.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him. He's gotta come home with me. Not anything but lonely. Every day with Turtle is a perfect day and keeps me company when I'm doing schoolwork. I like it when he jumps up on the table too. He is a veggie thief. He's an incredible companion and my best friend. Can't say that I've met anybody that doesn't love him too. When I adopted Turtle, I discovered all the things that make him unique. He's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly he's all pure love.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Thanks for sticking with us. I'm Lauren Christie. As of Thursday, Russian troops have seized a key government building in Kashan, and over 1 million refugees have left Ukraine. President Zelensky has temporarily lifted visa requirements as over 16,000 foreigners have volunteered to fight for Ukraine. As the humanitarian crisis grows in the Ukraine, the situation is consistently changing, so be sure to stay informed on this issue. Last week, Connecticut residents gathered at the state capitol for a rally in support of those in Ukraine. Among those in attendance were U.S. Representatives John Larson, Joe Courtney, and U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal. Connecticut residents waved Ukraine flags and held handmade signs that read, "Putin out of Ukraine and say no to war." Avery Beverages of New Britain created a new soda called Putin's Punch in efforts to raise funds for the people of Ukraine. The business said they contribute 50 cents from every bottle sold to the Ukraine Red Cross. In addition, Avery made a preliminary donation of $500. The soda was completely sold out same day as the cause received overwhelming support. Amazon confirmed the closing of 68 of their physical bookstore locations. The company released a statement saying, quote, "We remain committed to building the great long-term physical retail experiences and technologies, and we're working closely with the affected employees to help them find new roles with Amazon," end quote. The closure dates will verify by location, and affected customers will be notified in store. President Biden addressed the nation and the world in the first State of the Union speech Tuesday evening. The president opened with an attack on Putin, stating that the attack was premeditated and unprovoked. The then addressed the issues of inflation, domestic policy, and life after COVID.
I can't promise a new variant won't come, but I can promise you we'll do everything within our power to be ready if it does. Third,
the former Minneapolis police officers involved in the death of George Floyd have been charged. During the trial, all officers testified in their defense, claiming that they were unaware that Floyd needed medical attention. Prosecutors request that the officer serves 25 years in federal prison for violating his human rights. Derek Chevlon, the officer who was filmed on top of George Floyd, was guilty last April and is currently serving a 22-year sentence. On March 3rd, students and staff of Windham High School will be allowed to unmask. This decision comes after Governor Ned Lamont announced that he will let each district decide on said requirement. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention released a statement saying that this is safe to start removing mask mandates in areas with decreased transmission rates. A former spelling bee champ is using her knowledge of words for the greater good. 14-year-old Misha Adab sends homemade cards of encouragement to seniors to combat social isolation. She is now partnering with the nonprofit organization Delivering with Dignity to include her cards with the meals the company delivers. 2022 marks the 150th anniversary of the Yellowstone National Park. The park spans over 3 states, Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. Unfortunately, the park is not able to hold a large-scale event due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but they will be celebrating virtually, and with the smaller in-person events, Yellowstone hopes to use this anniversary to bring awareness to the Native Americans that lived there prior to them becoming a park. When we come back, we have an update on Eastern sports. Don't go anywhere.
All right, Monroe, you ready? Monroe. Here we go, the butterfly. Ready? Ooh.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. Paw?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps. Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Hello and welcome to this week's Sports Update. I'm Hannah Lasbury.
The last weekend was a big couple of days for all winter sports as most of them headed to their LEC championships for their final games of the winter season. Starting off with men's and women's basketball. In the rubber match between Little East Conference rivals for a chance to face off against the top-seeded UMass Dartmouth on Saturday, Eastern Connecticut men's basketball took on Keene State at Geisler Gymnasium last Thursday. The Warriors were unable to keep pace with the Owls, dropping the LEC semifinals match, 79-56. However, the LEC announced postseason award recipients this week, naming juniors Mikhail Murray and Jalen Williams a part of the second team All-Conference, and sophomore Max Lee a part of the All-Defensive team. The women's basketball team played their LEC semifinal against UMass Dartmouth last Thursday night, going in with a record of 18-8 and seeded number 2 in the conference. Senior Anna Berry led all players with 22 points and led the team with 7 rebounds. Danielle O'Brien adding 14 points, 6 steals, and 4 rebounds. Senior guard Julie Keckler had 7 assists, and senior forward Ayanna Ward adding 7 points and 6 rebounds. UMass did take the victory over Eastern 67-57, eliminating Eastern from the championship title. As for LEC postseason award recipients for the women's basketball, Berry was named Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and on the All-Defensive and First Team All-Conference. Julie Keckler was also named the First Team All-Conference. Moving on to the men's and women's swim team, they were busy last weekend as the team traveled to their LEC Conference Championship in Wesley, Massachusetts. After a 3-day competition, both teams ended up placing third. Head coach Sarit Glutz was named the LEC Men's Swim Coach of the Year, having only been with Eastern after 3 years with a limited roster. Highlighting the men's team, sophomore Connor Scully, first-year swimmers Ben Daddario and Joe Sylvester all broke the program records in each of their 3 events for the men. As for the women's team, senior Carrie Buchanan and first-year swimmer Maya Brody each won individual titles in the 200 freestyle and 50 butterfly. The Warriors finished off their seasons with a 7-3 record for the women and 5-3 for the men. And finally, to wrap up, spring sports are now underway here at Eastern, with the men's and women's lacrosse teams having their first games of the season this week. Women's lacrosse took the 13-4 win on Tuesday against Curry College, leaving men's lacrosse to face off against Johnston and Wales, in which they fell 11-9. Eastern baseball and softball will compete in their first games of the season this upcoming weekend. For more information and stats on sports for the winter season, be sure to check out our website at gowarriorathletics.com. Be sure to keep up with our daily content by following our social media at ECSU Athletics. Our streams, as always, are powered by Sidearm Sports and Blue Frame Technology. That's all for ECSU Sports this week. Back to you, Lauren.
This wraps up this edition of ETV News. Be sure to follow us on all social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. From director Manal Manani, producer Megan Selensky, and the entire ETV News staff, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time, Eastern.